Hello and welcome to ePlubism's Fireside Chats. Not as good as FDR's, but hey, it's something. Rapidly approaching episode 100. I don't know what to do then. We'll find out when that happens. But I mean, there's not much housekeeping or the like to do, so let's get right into the news. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to discuss with you is something that is interesting. Edward Snowden, Julian Assange, and Chelsea Manning nominated for 2020 Nobel Peace Prize. Two whistleblowers, Chelsea Manning and Edward Snowden, were nominated alongside WikiLeaks journalist and former editor-in-chief Julian Assange for the Nobel Peace Prize of 2020 by 17 members of a German parliamentary group. Zalkin Natstik writes, I am of a total of 17 members of our parliamentary group who has nominated Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, and Edward Snowden for the 2020 Nobel Peace Prize. These brave people should not be criminalized, but should be recognized and honored. The war criminals and their henchmen must be held accountable. We feel that Assange, Manning, and Snowden have to be recognized for their unprecedented contributions to the pursuit of peace and their immense personal sacrifices to promote peace for all. With the unveiling of U.S. war crimes in Afghanistan and Iraq and the global surveillance programs of U.S. Secret Services, these three exposed the architecture of war and strengthened the architecture of peace. I agree with what they say, but here's the thing. We all know, unfortunately, they're not going to get that Peace Prize. The Peace Prize is not going to be theirs. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning, and Edward Snowden, as much as I want them to have all the peace prizes in the world, as much as I want them to have, like, a hero's welcome, like, if I had the money and the power, they would be pardoned, and then they'd have a parade in freaking Central Square. They'd be paraded and, like, they'd have, like, a jet of their own that they would fly from, like, state to state where they can give book tours and say, like, you know, this was what it was like inside of this prison, but I knew what I did was right, so that's why I had to do it. Because these guys, they're, like, just doing good work. Like, they're doing things that people should be doing. I remember someone tweeted, like, a thing about, like, Anderson Cooper, who was like, Anderson Cooper said a thing to a guy, and it's like, this is what journalism should be. And it's like, well, I mean, if hey, hold on, dude. If you think Anderson Cooper just giving a slight throw back to a person in a mean way is journalism, oh boy, You'll love what Julian Assange is doing. He's literally going into government servers and finding whistleblowers to give him information about war crimes. Isn't that cool, dude? But now they don't like that one because they just for some reason don't like it. I mean, of course, the people in power, they don't like it because, you know, he exposes people in power. That is a big thing. He's exposing people in power. So that's why he doesn't get a hero's welcome. Like, I mean, they're the same people who praised Daniel Ellsberg for Watergate, but then, like, Julian Assange is thrown under the bus. When Ellsberg, I'm pretty sure he's praised, like, at least one of, if not all of them. But of course, it's like, oh, but he was colluding with the Russians, or blah, 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 or something stupid. When he was finding info on George Bush, everyone was saying, oh, yes, WikiLeaks, my hero. Then all of a sudden, when he pulled that to Obama, they were like, whoa, hold on, bro, shh, you can't say that. And then when he was exposing literally them trying to rig a primary against Bernie Sanders, they're like, we're trying to get rid of this guy, he served a purpose and now it's done. At least the Republican Party acknowledges, like, they got their brains together and they're like, oh yeah, we still hate him, so we're not gonna pardon him. Well, I mean, technically, this next news story is interesting. Dana Robichaux denies offering Assange a pardon from Trump. Basically, here's what happened. There was a revelation that Dana Robichaux may have went to Julian Assange and, tried to make a pardon deal with him. Here's how it was reported. It was reported that Assange was approached by former Congressman Dana Robichaux, and Robichaux said to him, "Look, Assange, here's the deal. If you flat out admit that Russia did not give you the info of the DNC hacks, we will give you a pardon." Now, reportedly, as they say, Assange did not tell him that, so the media jumped on that and was like, "Aha! See? That proves it. That proves that Russia gave him the info because he didn't say that they didn't give him the info. Assange is a Russian asset, and Trump is in Putin's hand." Except they seem to forget this one eensy beensy teensy weensy little interview that was done 3 years ago.
Can you say to the American people unequivocally that you did not get this information about the DNC, John Podesta's emails? Can you tell the American people 1,000% you did not get it from Russia or anybody associated with Russia?
We can say, we have said repeatedly over the last 2 months that our source is not the Russian government and it is not a state party.
But wait a second. I thought that if Assange said that Russia didn't give them the info, then he would be pardoned. And yet, Assange is still in jail. So why is this the case? Unless the deal wasn't in the headline. You see, the headlines, they always were like, you see, Assange couldn't say that the Russian government didn't give him the info. And when you read articles about this, it's like buried. It said that they had to provide evidence that Russia did not hack the DNC and give them that information. Which, for those of you who don't know what that would entail, it would entail that Julian Assange would have to reveal who gave him the information. And, believe it or not, I don't think Assange wants another person to go through what he's going through right now. So, now of course, let's say it was the Russian government that did give him this information. Then, technically, he did the deal. The deal is done. He said that Russia didn't do it. So why is he still in jail? And here's the thing. If Trump is backing out and saying, "Oh no, I'm not going to do this deal," why would Assange then not say that? Don't you think that Assange would care about his own well-being before Donald Trump's? He doesn't give a shit about Donald Trump at all. He doesn't. You think Assange wants to die in prison just so he can save Donald Trump's big fat neck? No. You have to be an idiot to think that. I don't get this logic. And of course I don't get the logic at all in total of Russiagate, because it's just... the thing is, I always bring this up, but nobody seems to acknowledge this. They got to the answer first. They didn't get to... I would have completely bought Russiagate if there was a thing that led to the Russia thing. Here's literally all I remember of Russiagate. One day, no Russiagate. Then the next day, Russia did it. There was no point where they were like, we've been looking into our elections, and we have reached the conclusion that Russia hacked our elections because of this piece of information. This is literally how it went. DNC was rigged and hacked. WikiLeaks was revealed the information of DNC. Where'd they get it? Russia. And they were also going through all these other excuses on why Hillary Clinton didn't win anyways. They were first oh, it was spoilers. No, it was Bernie. No, it was sexism. No, it was fake news. Oh, it was Russia. And I guess this story was enough to propel Russiagate further, because apparently they will not let Russiagate die. Which I'm sick and tired of, and this will probably be literally the last time I ever talk about Russiagate, because I am sick and tired of Russiagate. Even when Jimmy Dore debunks it, it's like, I'm sick and tired of it already. Let it die. It's over. But no, it's not over. The Democrats are literally going to try and repeat the same Russia talking points over and over again. Now, speaking of Russia, I was originally going to do other things, but I guess I might as well talk about more of this Russiagate BS before we get into the main stuff. For those of you who have not been paying attention, there has been accusations that Bernie, his campaign, was being helped by the Russians. Now, the reason why many people have been kind of shocked about this is like, whoa, hold on a second. The Russiagate stuff is being put on Bernie? And I sit there confused because I'm like, guys, you are aware Russiagate started as a way to undermine Bernie, right? They're doing the same thing they did before. They're saying like, oh, there are troll farms. There are like troll farms that are helping Bernie's campaign in the primary. Literally, the beginning of Russiagate was the original stuff. Like the Wikipedia page of Russiagate literally said like, Russian interference in the 2016 election is Russia interfered to bolster the campaigns of Bernie Sanders, Jill Stein, and Donald Trump. That was the beginning of the theory. Well, I mean, not even the theory, the conspiracy. That was the beginning. At the beginning, people who were Bernie Sanders supporters who were towing the Russiagate line, it was like, guys, the Russiagate conspiracy puts you in Russia's hand too. That's why I never bought it. They were claiming like, oh, I'm a Russian asset because Russia tricked me into supporting Bernie. Russia birthed Bernie Sanders in the Soviet Union, and he was a sleeper agent this whole time. It's like, are you stupid? You're insane. You are literally insane. And, I mean, here's the thing. The recent story that has been trying to get out again, they have been revealing that Russia is doing the troll farms again. And then it was leaked by the Washington Post, and many people were like, Bernie knew, why didn't he reveal this information prior? Even though the information was from a classified information, even Near Tandem was retweeting stuff like, why didn't Bernie tell us Bernie's an evil Russian asset? And they're like, this was a classified meeting. She's like, oh, oops. And the thing is, people were like, this is the best thing out of the 2020 election so far. The DNC is trying to pull the same tricks, the same BS tactics that they did in the 2016 election, but thanks to WikiLeaks and Julian Assange and the information that has been revealed, they can't do that anymore. Because we're smart. We know what they did before, and they're doing the same tricks again. In this 4-year period, they didn't try to get new tricks. They didn't try any new tricks. They only got like one new trick, but everything else is just a repeat. Media undermines Bernie. They treat his supporters like crap. They claim that he has a bunch of racist, sexists backing him that are trying to undermine the Democratic Party. He's a Russian asset. Blah, blah, blah. He's stupid. He's a communist. Socialism. They don't try anything new. They basically rehash all the stuff that happened in 2016. But the thing is, everybody is smart. They've had 4 years to digest this information, and it's not going to work again. And we can tell it's clearly not working, because Bernie Sanders has won not 1, not 2, but apparently 3 of the early states. it of course wasn't lost on any of us that Washington Post was revealing this information the day before the Nevada caucus. And it appears that that did not deter anybody at all, because as of the time I'm recording this, Bernie's projected to win the caucus. Literally, I am not surprised. New Hampshire has a huge Hispanic population. That was what many people were saying would propel him to win this. Like, they were like, oh, he's clearly going to win this because of Hispanic population. Hispanics love Bernie compared to all the other guys. And, yeah, he's winning. He's in the lead, and I doubt the DNC is going to be able to pull any tricks this time around because everybody can see through it. They got through the Iowa stuff, and they're like, wait, hold on a second. Wait, hold on, bro, what? If they try to do the Iowa thing again, it'll be 100% noticeable, and people will be able to go through it again. They'll just be like, oh yeah, it's clear to tell he's winning, but of course the DNC is going to try and do small tricks, but we'll be able to notice and debunk it. Apparently, it's getting to the point where Bernie's winning enough delegates that if he wins South Carolina, there's going to be literally no point in anybody else pursuing any further, because he'll have a majority. I don't know if that's 100% true, I haven't looked into it, but, I mean, if Bernie wins all 4 of the major states, like in the first 4 early states, that'll be really well for his candidacy. And the thing is, it's clearly going to be easier than we thought. Because, I mean, I remember early on, people were like really scared, like, oh, Kamala, Roberts, Pete, Biden, Warren, these guys are going to be tough people to beat. Doesn't look like it, to be honest. Now, I know I'm tooting my own horn, but I mean, it doesn't look like these guys are going to be that hard to beat. However, there does seem to be the DNC's handpicked candidate is definitely changing again. Like, I mean, it of course started out to be Biden, then Kamala, then Pete, then kind of Warren, then back to Biden, then back to Pete. Now it seems that the candidate is going to be Bloomberg, because Bloomberg is plotting a new strategy. He is plotting to make it so that other candidates that are like him, like Pete and Amy and Biden, drop out, not just back out, but also support his candidacy because he sees himself as the only candidate that can beat Bernie. Which is only true in one degree. He has billions of dollars on standby. The rest of these guys, they don't have the charisma, they don't have anything to keep them going. Bloomberg doesn't have that either, but he actually has something that they don't. Pretty much an unlimited checkbook. Pete has to make his billionaire donors happy. So does Biden. So does, Warren with her super PAC. They have to keep their donors happy. Bloomberg does not have to care about donors because he doesn't accept donations. He self-funded his campaign. And that's the only danger that is going to be facing Bernie. A self-made... he's the only candidate... To be fair, it is technically practice for Trump. I mean, billionaire, racist, sexist billionaire with no charisma versus racist, sexist billionaire with charisma. Bernie's gonna have 2 challenges. And I mean, to be fair, Trump is actually, of course, trying to do something that he tried to do in the past. And it's something that he does kind of well. Appeal to Bernie supporters. Because Trump is trying to appeal to Bernie supporters. I mean, he's not trying to win their votes, but he's trying to at least win them, street cred or whatever. Because he always, at one point, mentions, they're gonna rig the election against Bernie again. And that kind of strikes a chord, because people just are like, yeah, he's right, they are gonna rig it against them. But they also acknowledge, hey, your own party is literally canceling state primaries just so you could be the nominee again. So what's up with that, bro? So yeah, anyways, now on to the small candidate of the day. This candidate is named David John Sponheim of America's Third Party. I guess he's never heard of the Libertarians or the Greens or the Constitution Party or the American First Party or I guess he's never really heard of any political parties other than Democrats and Republicans. Basically, he's trying to make some kind of centrist-minded, candidacy. Bridge the divide. You don't need the Democrats or the Republicans and blah, blah, blah. But here's kind of where his actual policy platforms lie. Ending war, maintaining a volunteer fighting force, ending the use of GMOs, legalizing marijuana, term limits for all, hybrid capitalism, which is, he doesn't really explain it, hydro energy, enforce the Clean Air Act, stop subsidizing too big to fail companies. Let me see. Does he have a Medicare for all? I don't think he does. He has a national opt-in plan, so I guess this is a public option. Less federal government education, more online learning. Establishment of border protection zones. Flat tax. He's kind of centrist. He's pretty much just, your average centrist candidate. So yeah. Now on to the main topic of this video, which is something that technically is long overdue, but whatever, I don't care. It's my show. The 9th Democratic debate. Now, I'll preface it with this. I was originally intending for this to be the last debate breakdown because I was like, I think 9 is enough. We really don't need the debates at this point. We know all the candidates on the stage, but the only candidate that we haven't seen on the debate stage is Bloomberg. So I'm going to give him a chance to show me what he's made of. And, I'll see if that maybe bodes well for, his candidacy. And maybe I'll see if I can keep doing, I was pretty sure that this would be the last one. Now I think I'm going to go for at least an even 10. Because, honestly, this debate was the most interesting debate that I have seen so far. I guess it's because the field has narrowed down so much that we really, at this point, these candidates are the ones we're pretty much stuck with at the time being. So there's really no point in them trying to play safe to see if maybe they'll get on the next debate stage. Which is leading them to literally not play it safe and take the gloves completely off. Though I will say one thing before I end up breaking down this debate. In my honest view, at this point in the election, do we really need the criteria to appear on the debate stage anymore? At this point, we have 8 presidential candidates. I kinda got it when it was 29, but we have a smallest amount of candidates at this point that can all fit on a debate stage. I know this for a fact. You've held debates where there have been 10 people on the stage. You can hold 10 people on the stage. So, and it's not like the candidates that are not on the stage are people that we've never seen before. The other candidates that are remaining, that I just not include on the debate stage anymore, is Tom Steyer and Tulsi Gabbard. At this point, we know those two as well. So at this point, literally, why bother and just leaving them off the stage? Let them all on. And now you might say, would you say the same thing if it was Deval Patrick and Michael Bennet? Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't care. There's only 8 candidates left. Let them all on. I'm the guy who said that Al Gore and George Bush should have debated Ralph Nader, Pat Buchanan, Harry Brown, Howard Phillips, and John Hagelin. At this point, I think the debate stage should be inclusive to all the guys who are major candidates at this point. Now, I will now go over the debate itself. And, who did well, who did terribly. Now, the thing is, I haven't been watching any of the other guys' debate breakdowns because, I honestly just felt that it was decent enough for me to do it on my own. First, I'm going to go over airtime. Bloomberg was on the airtime. He had 13 minutes of airtime. Biden had 13.4 minutes. Buttigieg had 14.8 minutes. Bernie had 15.4, Klobuchar had 15.9, and Warren had 16.8. Now again, the front runner should be the one with the most time, not Amy Klobuchar. It's clearly, you can tell that CNN has a Klobuchar bias, because for some reason, Klobuchar keeps getting more airtime than people who are supposedly the frontrunners. Though to be fair, at this one it makes more sense because Klobuchar, she got it by mostly interrupting other people. Now, I will now go over how each of the candidates did. The first one is obviously on the bottom. Mike Bloomberg. Bloomberg honestly, out of all the people on this stage, I'm the only person, I'm going to say flat out, Bloomberg is the only one who did legitimately bad. He was terrible on the stage. The entire debate was him pretty much getting railed on by everyone. Everyone. And it was kind of glorious. Bernie was the front runner, but these guys seemed to notice that the billionaire who magically appeared on the debate stage had more of a threat in the horizon than, Bernie was. Why can't establishment Twitter think that as well? They seem to think that Bernie is the biggest threat to all of mankind for some reason. When they all can see that the billionaire buying elections is clearly going to be the bigger threat. I mean, to be fair, I think it's 3 of them were threatened because of the fact that Bloomberg wanted to kick 3 of them off the stage. But, it's obvious he's a threat. You don't spend millions of dollars of your own campaign money and then just magically get on the stage. That's not fair. To be fair, they all seem to have valid criticisms of him. Some of them were, of course, more, oh, you're old. You're a former Republican. To be fair, they were all somewhat substantive in their attacks on Bloomberg, and Bloomberg didn't really have any rebuttals. There was one point where he was attacked for having people have NDAs, and they just said it very clearly, Warren and Biden, they were both let them off of their NDAs now. And he's just no. And everyone booed him, and he's he was stumbling, and everybody was acknowledging, dude, you're in the wrong primary. So yeah, the candidate that did the second worst is Amy Klobuchar. Now, Amy, to be honest, this debate, she was better than she usually is. But again, it's not by much. Her debate merits are she keeps fluctuating on who she's going to be. Is she going to be the concerned grandmother? Is she going to be the moderate that tries to hit Bernie? None of those things actually work. At one point, it was there when they swayed to Bernie Bros, it's there's one way to stop sexism. Elect a woman president. And they're Amy, no. That clearly doesn't work because Obama was elected president. We still have racists. And I mean, at one point they did criticize Amy for being kind of like Bloomberg. With the whole thing about the African American case that she was involved with. And I mean, but to be fair, Amy did seem like more attacking because she was attacking Bloomberg, and there was at one point that many people saw as like a fault. I legitimately saw it as like a good thing. It was like during that whole debate about the whole, like, Amy, you didn't know the president of Mexico's name? And like, whatever. Now, people of course gave the valid criticism of, you know, shouldn't you know more about your valuable trade partner in the like our southern trade partner? Shouldn't you know their leader's name? And she was like, "Oh, I messed up, bro. Sorry." And then at one point, Pete tries to get her, and like, he's like, "You seem to tout your Washington experience, and yet you don't get this simple thing." And then Amy was like, "Pete, are you calling me stupid? Are you calling me dumb right now?" Now, everyone else seemed... It appears that everyone else's reaction was, ugh. But my reaction was actually like, oh. Like, I actually saw that as a positive. Like, you know, because, you know, the whole mansplaining thing that people on the internet do. But I mean, like, again, I saw it as it was a decently good moment, to say the least. I mean, will it translate to her winning? No, it of course won't. I mean, she's not a good candidate otherwise. She just had a good night. But I mean, we're not really going to get much otherwise for our dear old Amy. But we are going to see more on other candidates. The one that I think did slightly better than her was Pete Buttigieg, obviously. Now, here's the thing. Pete, again, it was mostly due to the fact that he was on the offensive against Bloomberg and, you know, against Bernie, obviously. Because, you know, Pete Buttigieg is starting to realize, hey, my $5 million, it's not coming. Like, my millionaire donors, they're not going to give me nomination. Well, I think maybe I'll win by going on the offensive against Bernie. And it doesn't appear to be working. I mean, it worked only a little bit in the debate. But I mean, otherwise, it's not really working otherwise. He had that fight with Amy that I think kind of knocked him down a peg. And the candidate kind of pimp slapped him, and he was like, and he kind of fell. Like, I mean, if he were the only centrist on the stage, he probably would have done decently well, but he had to fight with like 3 other ones, so he obviously didn't do so hot. The one, like, number 3 is Joe Biden. Now, I honestly did not expect Biden to make it that high, because Biden has not been doing so hot. And even though Kyle Kulinski kept saying, like, no, Biden's a good debater. He usually is a good debater. I was literally like, I never seen it. But now, I mean, I did kind of see, like, I mean, I know where Kyle was coming from. Earlier debates obviously showed, not earlier debates in this election cycle, debates in, like, 2008, and debates in, like, when he was going against other candidates. Like, usually one-on-one debates he usually does well in. And, I mean, like, Biden had a huge history of being really good on debates. Like, I remember him dismantling Rudy Giuliani very simply. Oh, coincidentally, a mayor of New York. And he's like, Rudy Giuliani, there's 3 things that come out of his mouth, a noun, a verb, and 9/11. Like, I mean, it was a good move back in that day. And this debate, he seemed to be, like, I guess he was like, my poll numbers are sinking. I got, like, he has something to fight for now. He thought he was gonna win the nomination just offhand, but no, it seemed like this time he knew oh wait, I'm actually gonna have to win this something. So he is actually did decently well, mostly targeting Bloomberg. I mean, it's usually because, like, I mean, the thing is, as I said, Biden seems to do well when he's debating Republicans, but, I mean, otherwise, he doesn't really do so hot. When he's fighting against other Democrats, he only does well in some regards, but he doesn't usually succeed. I mean, as we've seen in this debate, it's in this election cycle. I mean, otherwise, yeah, Biden did well this time around, but we're not going to be expecting Biden to do so hot in the future. Now, number 2 is, of course, obviously Elizabeth Warren. Warren has kind of, like, she's just not pulling her punches in this debate. She, she mostly stayed focused on policy, and that's usually her strong suit when she talks about it. When she enacts it, that's a little bit of a different story. I mean, I wouldn't be supporting Bernie if she was good on both. But she, of course, did really well. I mean, she was mostly focused on Bloomberg, obviously. Billionaire buying his way into our electoral system. That's Warren's bread and butter. Remember, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Now, Warren, I think it was her first line of the night, and it was a good line, and it caught everybody, I was just like, oh.
I'd like to talk about who we're running against. A billionaire who calls women fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. And no, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I'm talking about Mayor Bloomberg. Democrats are not going to win if we have a nominee who has a history of hiding his tax returns, of harassing women, and of supporting racist policies like redlining and stop and frisk. Look, I'll support whoever the Democratic nominee is, but understand this. Democrats take a huge risk if we just substitute one arrogant billionaire for another. This country has worked for the rich for a long time and left everyone else in the dirt. It is time to have a president who will be on the side of working families and be willing to get out there and fight for them. That is why I am in this race, and that is how I will beat Donald Trump.
Now, of course, I have some disagreements with that line. Supporting Bloomberg if he's the Democratic nominee. No way ever. Seriously, I will not emphasize any more the fact that Michael Bloomberg is literally the one person I would literally never support ever. I wouldn't support Biden. I'm not going to support Pete. But there's in any scenario where I would support Bloomberg. Remember Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump? He's literally what happens if you take them both and fuse them together. I would never be supporting him at any point in the future, current, no present, no future. If he rigs the Democratic nomination, I'm not going to support him. The end. She's going to support him, I'm not. That's one major difference. Second is her saying, she's the best candidate in the race, and that's why she's in the race. There's better candidates, but I'll get to that when we get to that. But that was a clear, good line to open with. Because, again, literally everybody was thinking, oh, yeah, we know Donald Trump is racist and sexist. He's, stupid. He, insults women and blah, blah, blah. But then they're like, oh, that's not Trump? I thought that was Trump. Bloomberg seems to be starting to become the only exception to the blue no matter who rule. He's becoming the second exception to most people. Okay, third exception. Because there were some people that were never Bernie, never Tulsi, but they were just now it seems that they're going okay, Bloomberg, no. And yeah, I'm with them. Bloomberg is a no for me. But unfortunately, Bloomberg is literally just... the thing is, people are still going to probably vote for him. If he became the Democratic nominee, there would probably be people who are voting for him. And I have a video coming out in the future where it's literally going to be Bloomberg, there was a time period where people did want you to become president. You're a little too late on that, buddy. A little too late on that, buckaroo. Just never gonna get that momentum back, dude. And of course, we have the person who I think did the best, which is a no-brainer, Bernie. Bernie, he was just giving out insults left and right. Like, he was hitting his inner Teddy Roosevelt. He was finally just like again, this is the debate where people are like, yeah, only the big boys are on the stage now. There's no baby boys anymore. The people who are on this stage are here till the bitter end. We're gonna have to live with that now. And he just didn't pull any punches that much anymore. With the prior debates, he of course did restrict on some things, but I mean, Bernie, he was literally just hitting candidates left and right, going Pete, I have more union support than you could ever have, or I'm sorry that you didn't have you have 42 billionaires. I'm sorry that one of them was so bad that they had to run against you. But, he was just going at it, and it shows he did really well. It obviously probably had a part to play in his win in Nevada. But yeah, people are just, I think Bernie's just, it seems like this is going to be easier, not easy, but easier than we thought. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that bell to be notified when a future video of mine comes out. And if you're interested in more content from me, you can go to my website or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Quora, or check my articles on the Independent Political Report.